Hi, I'm Guy Vellacott. I'm the founder and commercial director here at Pixel Evolution. We are currently sitting in a central London studios where we've been delivering XR events and we've been delivering virtual and remote speaker events. The equipment that we're using in the XR world is very different to a normal live event. We're using the same cameras and we're using a lot of the same back-end technology, but actually it's very cutting-edge new technology on the front-end side of how we're developing it.
My name's Simon Grant. I'm a lighting designer. Lighting for XR is very different for lighting for a live audience on a stage. There's so many aspects to consider. It's working very closely with the video engineers to get a real fine balance for the cameras.
So a virtual event can be very similar to a live event, but an XR live event or an XR virtual event is much more akin to a broadcast shoot, a TV show, because of the way that it's shot and the way that it looks. To get the full impact of any XR environment, you need to make sure that the camera systems are tracked. This way you get the movement and the nice big sweeping shots that really pull off that dynamic world. The show caller is not just show calling the people and when they need to cue them and how they're bringing them on and the aspects of the show, they're also needing to be aware of what the camera shots are. And I think very much when you add additional cameras and you've got quite a complex XR shoot, you really need to consider whether a director of photography is involved as well as a show caller.
I'm Naz, I'm a content creator. I've been working in the live events industry for 20 years. When we work in physical events, we all sort of work in silos. So we have the lighting engineer, the set designer, the video people, the graphics guys. Everyone works on their own thing, and the producer has to have an overall look and see what everyone's doing and see if it all sort of works together. But the difference with XR is everyone has to know what everyone is doing at all times because everything affects everything else. The major thing with content and any sort of assets that you create for a virtual event, you have to think about the view from the audience member. You always have to think of the layers that's going on with content. Not everyone goes full screen when they're watching a virtual event. Some people just watch it on their phones, which is like that big. If you're creating assets that are in an XR environment, you've also got to think about camera moves. With a physical event, you're just thinking of 1,000 people in an audience. Everyone's got to have a view of it. Whereas now you're just thinking of the camera. All those assets have to be made for that camera view and where at what time that camera is in which position.
The additional options for lighting in XR is you can use real lights to light people. So we'd call that dynamic lighting. But there is also the option to have lights built into the graphics with disguise or whatever you're using, and then you can control them from the lighting console as well. So you've got two layers there of being able to light. So you've got the real lights, you can create shadows and make someone look real in front of the screen, and then you can use like graphic lights to create real effects across the whole XR stage.
We've built this today in Notch, which was software that was designed for VJs to be reactive to music. Most of the computer games like Fortnite are all made using Unreal. Game developers can create what they want really easily visually, and so that's why it works really well with this environment. The performance was going to be by Duke, so we looked at what they did on their YouTube channel and did a sort of range of videos in a shed. So we thought it could be cool if it was in a shed that exploded to reveal the depth of XR, so how far you can go with it, so it becomes more of an environment.
I think two great technologies that we've been using widely during this period, a point-to-point transmission series. So when we send out a remote camera to somebody's house and then we bring it back, we've been using the quick link software and hardware. But this means that when we do a live event, say we're in a congress hall or a different venue, we'll be able to use these as point-to-point transfers and send signals and data and communications much better across those platforms. We've also been using remote comms. We use the ClearComm Agent IC system here, which when we're doing a live event again, hopefully across multi-countries and multi-locations, it means that we're going to be able to set up a comms system that will be able to have London, New York, Paris, all on the same comms ring. And a single director will be able to call an entire series of shows from one location. And the development in comms there has been really quite incredible. I think the development in media servers and camera tracking has been quite a big step forward during this lockdown period. I think camera tracking is quite an exciting thing to try and bring into live events. Having dynamic content that can move with the camera angle and really trying to make that content look really fantastic on a big screen when we can all sit in front of one again will be fantastic. I think the development of media servers have come on in rendering such large content real time is going to give a different aspect to how you immerse that live audience.